There's a sign on the wall to my office that says, do or do not, there is no try. Well, sounds good. Yoda said it, and I have some of the sharpeners, they tease me and they call me Yoda. Do I look like Yoda? I hope not. I think there is a try. You do your best. And I want to explain that in regards to the International Scissor Sharpener Association certification. So let's talk about what it is and what it isn't, and why you might want to try. So the International Scissor Sharpeners Association was started in 2007. We had a sharpener here that was from Cyprus, Ian, and he spent a wonderful week with us, learned how to sharpen, and when he got ready to go back, he says, I know I've got my certificate, I was trained by Bonika Shears, but I need some more credentials, something that looks more important going back. He says, you know, that's important in Cyprus. And so he and I, we dreamed up the International Scissor Sharpeners Association, the ISSA. So we started out as a one-time, lifetime membership, and you're agreeing to be a nice sharpener and treat other sharpeners nice and do your best job on your customers and just kind of some general ethical type of things. And you might want to go to the link below and read those things. But it's got to be very controversial because we had a lot of people that wanted to be listed on my website as a sharpener, and I needed to know whether they knew how to sharpen, and many of them were people that I hadn't trained or I'd trained years ago, and when they left out of here they had some generations, some improvement to make. And so we started a certification as part of the ISSA. Now there's been some groups that have had some problems with that and feeling like it was competition with some of the other ones. I want to clear this up. After third grade, we have a milestone test here in Georgia, which is the state in the USA that I live in. And the students are tested on math and English. And that's it. And can they read third grade level reading? And that's what our newspapers here in the USA are, third grade level. So they can function. And they can do basic arithmetic. They can, if they go and buy a hamburger at McDonald's, they'll know what kind of change they're supposed to get. Just some basic, do the skills they need to survive. When I got ready to go to college, like many of you, I took the SAT, I took the ACT. In my final year of high school, they had a standardized test for the state of Florida where I lived. And we were tested on all sorts of things, science and social studies and all different things. And we were compared to other students, and there was no retaking the test, really. I mean, this was what your score was. So the ISSA is like the third grade milestone test. Instead of English and math, you've got a convex and a bevel. Do you know how to convex a convex? Do you know how to bevel a bevel? We're not getting into bending shears or realigning shears or, hardware, dealing with anything other than just the basic simplicity of it. So if you want to compare it to like the IBSA, the International Beauty Sharpeners Association, which I attend, and also the National Beauty Tools Sharpeners Guild, which I'm a member of. It's not really a comparison. And I thought I'd just show you my certificate from that, just so you see that I am a master with that. I do know how to do all the bending and alignment. The year I took the test, Dennis Brooks and Craig Kazir and Casper Kaiser were the judges, and it's a double-blind test. They don't know who did the sharpening. They don't know what equipment it was on. You're in the room where they're watching you take the test, but then it's double-blind, so they don't know. And my score that year, I was very proud, and actually a little surprised, was the highest score that year. So I do know how to sharpen, but I don't think to be a good sharpener, you need to be able to do all the things to pass this test. I would like to see everybody be able to pass this test. That's all like scoring high on the SAT. But you need to, first of all, be able to do third grade reading and math. And that's what our certification is about. And it's so, I won't say it's so simple, but it's so essential that as long as you'll pay the shipping back and forth, I'll keep sending these shears back to you until you pass. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm looking for. I'm going to even show you what the damage is. So stay tuned to the end of this little video, because I'm going to actually damage some shears so you can see what's going on. You'll see what kind of shears they are. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm looking for. I have a written test. If you've watched enough of my videos, you should be able to pass the written test. The written test would be relevant regardless of what equipment you're using. It's things like knowing that a 1200 grit is going to be finer than a 600 grit. That kind of information. So what I do want to show you is how I actually damage the shears and what I'm looking for them to do afterwards. And I have a number of videos where you're going to see the evaluation. And one of the questions I get is this truly international? Well, yes, the one you're going to see me damage today is going to Norway. As long as you're ready to pay the postage to whatever country you're in and you're willing to wait for the slow shipping, I'll send them wherever you want the shears, the damaged shears, to go. If you want them back afterwards, you have to pay the shipping, or if not, I'll just keep them. But I'll be videotaping them. It's not really grades. If you watch my evaluation, I'll kind of say maybe this is a B level, this would be an A, I'm amazed, this is great, or this one just barely passes. I really would like that every shear that comes back to me for the certification passes. And mine is not a double blind. I usually know what equipment you're using. I know who they're coming from. I did the damage. I'm the only one looking at them. Of course, you're looking at them with me on the video. So if I'm wrong, you can put in the comments section, let me know. And this is not designed to be to show that you're like the greatest sharpener ever. It's to show if you're third grade level. I'm hoping every sharpener out there who is a professional that is making money at doing this should be able to pass this certification. And it's kind of alarming to me how many don't. So make sure before we go through the process and I send you the shears, be knowledgeable about your own ability so that you're not having to pay all this extra shipping back and forth. But this is as much of a learning system as it is a test. So good luck for all of you. Watch how I damage these shears. So these are the typical scissors that I use to damage for the beveled edge and the convex edge. They may vary over time, but for the foreseeable future, these would be the two brands. I start with brand new shears, and so I know that they cut. I like to test them before I damage them and then do the damage on them. So let's start with the beveled edge. And I'm going to take this off of the little card here. And these are decent scissors. They're really popular amongst a lot of the hairstylists because they're so lightweight. They have a slight hollow. See, they're made in Taiwan. But they really don't have a ride line. What I'm looking for is that you know not to take them apart and not to work the ride line, because that's not the way they're designed to be. Also, what I'm looking for, this one, they may or may not have a serrated side, depending on what beveled edges I'm using. But this one has one side that's serrated, so I need you to know that you're not going to do anything to the serrated side, or very little. And then you have the one side. And this one, just to show you how it cuts right now, this is some single ply, really cheap toilet tissue is what I use to test with. And you see it cuts fine dry, cuts fine wet. So the things I'm going to do to it is I'll loosen the blade, as I want you to know to tighten it. So I'm going to make that a little bit too loose. See, that's too loose. And then I'm going to just kind of dull out the edge with my diamond file. Just rounding over the edge, and then I'm going to put a few nicks in it. See, it's not severe damage, but it's like what you would get from a hairstylist if she's dropped her shears a few times. And then, so it should, between the loosened blade and between the damage, not cut. And see, even if I do pressure, I can barely get it to cut. So I definitely want it to cut better than that. So that's number one. And I'll put it in here. And that will go out. This one is made, it's a Chinese steel finished in the USA, and this particular company that makes them, they always put a little micro bevel on them, teeny tiny. I'm going to show you that little micro bevel so you can see. See that little micro bevel? I want you to be able to sharpen that out and make that a true convex. So I'm looking for that micro bevel to be gone. And in addition to it, I'm going to put a few nicks on it. And I'll let you just see those nicks. See, they're not huge, but they're definitely there. So I've nicked them. It's already got a micro bevel on it, so I don't need it to do a lot with that. When I close it with those nicks, it should put nicks on the other side. I think I need a little bit more nicks to give it a little bit more of a challenge. I might dull it out a little bit. Sounds awful. I want it to be quiet. You see, it's cutting dry. But let's see if it cuts wet. See, it's not cutting wet. And this one, I'm expecting you as a sharpener to take it apart, to work the ride line, and you can see the nicks in the ride line, so I want those to be gone. I want to see the ride line right on the edge and not coming up the back, so it shows me that you're putting the pressure in the right place. I want to see the right adjustment on the shears so that they're not too tight, not too loose. I'm looking to see if it is a true convex edge, seeing if it cuts wet tissue, dry tissue, see if it pushes hair. Just the basic type of things the stylist would want that shear to do. So these are your test shears, and you know exactly what I'm wanting them to do. I could loosen this screw, but I mean, you're going to be taking it apart anyway, but just for the fun of it, I'll make it looser. And no parts to replace, just simple, basic sharpening. They're not out of alignment, just convex edge this one, bevel edge that one, and send them back to me. And it's simple as pie. If you have any questions, if you want to see some of my evaluations, I have a lot of the ISSA evaluations. You can put in hashtag ISSA and find them. And I suggest you watch how I evaluate them. Do all your homework so that when you send me the shears, you're going to feel confident you're going to pass. And give me a moment, a day or two, to do the evaluation, to print the certificate, the cards, the ID cards. We have those made by a company on the other side of the United States. And so those are official looking cards. They're not something we've just made and laminated. So give us a moment to get those together. And I really, really, really want to pass every shear that comes in here. So do your best and go ahead and try. It's not do or do not. There is a try.